It seems weird we ain't got no music.
Hey, everybody, make some music, girl. You make some music.
Hey, dude, it feels weird when you ain't got no music.
You make some music. Sing.
La 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 la.
No,
la,
that's good.
La, la.
Stay. Rotation.
Let's see. It says I'm joined, but I don't.
You in there? It says
I know. It said I joined, but I don't know. Hey, Miss Diane, how you doing?
You there?
It says I'm there, but I'm not seeing it. That's what I'm saying.
See you there. I see you. Sherrie Bridges is watching.
But I'm not watching. That's what I'm saying. I'm not watching.
Because you own this. Did you log on to this? No?
No, I don't have to log on to this. There we go.
You there?
There we go. Now I'm
hey,
watching.
Everybody. Lena, hello. Diane.
Hey, Charlene. Hey, my St. Croix. Hey, beautiful. How you doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all feeling tonight? How y'all doing? Welcome back. Thursday Love is back, y'all. Thursday Love is back. Thursday Love is back. How are you feeling? How you doing? Hey, Trivia. Charlene, I miss you.
Congratulations.
Yes. Congratulations. Seem like some weddings have taken place since we've been gone. Seem like people have had babies since we've been gone.
A lot of things have
happened. A lot of great things have happened since we've been gone. Anybody miss us out there? Anybody miss Thursday Love out there?
No lie.
Show us some hearts, some thumbs up, some likes. Hey, Pastor Allgood. Hey, George. Happy to see you
Pastor
too.
Allgood. It says that things
all good. Really? I miss you too, Charlene. That's Charlene. What it says, Lena? That's Charlene.
Yeah.
I miss Charlene.
That shit thing said invited. I invited him.
Huh?
Oh, never mind.
All right. Yeah.
No,
y'all doing all right? Y'all had a good week? We've missed you guys too. We've missed you, George and Trivia. We have. Congratulations on a new edition. Yeah. Y'all got 3 girls. How you feeling? How you feeling, George? You got 3 girls. 3 girls. Hey, Felicia. Hey, Miss Felicia. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Y'all had a good week. Talk to us. Hey, I'm about to call you Bishop.
Call it like you see.
Bishop Crenshaw. Well, he gonna be a bishop one day. Hey, Brian. I just saw Crenshaw and I went to Bishop. I was like, Bishop Crenshaw.
Bishop Bishaw singing.
I hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody has had a great week. If you've had a great week, show me some thumbs up. Show me your hearts. How are you feeling? How are you doing? How are things going? You know how we do. We love to hear from you guys. We have truly missed you guys. We have been gone for over a month. I want to first say thank you to everyone who has called, everyone who has texted, everyone who sent a card or just showed some type of love and support during the passing of my mom. It was a very hard time. It's still a hard time. I didn't want to come back to Thursday Love. Let me just be honest. My husband kept asking me. He was like, do you want to do Thursday Love? I was like, no. And he'll come back the next week. He's like, you want to do Thursday Love? I said, no. And I didn't want to do Thursday Love. I didn't want to come back to Thursday Love, to be honest. And that's just it. But I do want to say thank you to everyone who said something, gave a hug, who encouraged me, who checks up on me. Anybody out there during the passing of my mom, it was, most people say it's unexpected, but I can say in this case, it's not like I knew, but at the same time, it's like I didn't know. So, yeah, I just wanted to tell everybody thank you. And so we are back. Joy said, thanks, lots of pink, no sleep. I need some counseling on middle child issues.
Thanks, Trivia.
Thanks, Trivia. So,
George, you need some counseling. Okay, we still learning.
Well, we still learning. I think it's a on the job training, just like having children. Everybody has their own book. Hey, Reese. Hey, Reese. For those that are up here, tonight's topic is grief. Brian said nope. Hey David. Yeah, I really didn't post it on Facebook like that. Hey Sean. Hey Contessa. I really didn't post it on Facebook. I'm not big on telling everything. But my mom passed on August the 29th. She was only 64 years old. It was a hard day because not only on the day did I find out that my mom passed, I also found out that my sister had a brain tumor. And so my sister has had brain surgery. It was touch and go in the beginning, but to God be the glory, she is better now. She is healing. She is progressing. She is off all breathing tubes. She's off all meds, except the ones that she necessarily needs. She's talking a lot, and she's very, she has a sense of humor, a very good sense of humor, so she's doing good.
Yeah, does she?
What's
up, Sean?
Hey, Deacon French. Hey, Sean. So, hey, Deidre. So, with that being said, because of what I have, me and my family has currently experienced, I said, let's talk about grief. I kind of battled about talking about this because it's still new, it's still fresh of losing a parent. But at the same time, I feel this push to do it because not only have I lost a parent, we have lost a child. And it seemed like it's kind of befitting at this moment because I bet some of all of y'all have been following the, what's her name, Amy Geiger, the case of, what's his name, Botham John. I probably said his name all wrong, but Botham John. And they sentenced her on yesterday, and everybody got to see his younger brother, forgive and ask God, ask her to repent and ask the Lord to forgive her. And, and he showed his kindness of love by giving a hug. And everybody's been discussing that on Facebook for the past day, for the past 24 hours. They either talking about forgiveness and they're talking about grief, how those two kind of correlate and how those two kind of interact. But on tonight, we're going to talk about grief. For those who are up here, this is not a session for Sherrie to just talk on tonight or TJ to just talk. I want to hear from you guys. What is grief to you? Have you experienced grief? And if so, how did you handle it? Feel free to express yourself because I do want us to talk about grief because I think grief is that type of thing, just like depression. No one talks about it. Like mental illness, no one talks about it. It's something that's under a cover. At times we see it, but then because it pokes its head out, but then it goes right back under the cover and nobody sees it again. Some people are very good at masking their grief. Some people are very horrible at having grief. They don't deal with it too well. So grief is like, to me, honestly, in my opinion, grief is like a silent killer if you don't know what to do. It's a quiet storm that creeps its way up, and then when it hits, it hits. It can be very overwhelming. So in this experience I've been having, it's kind of crazy. If I can just give my testimony for just a second, losing a parent. So I lost my child. When we lost our child, I think I went through that 5 stages of grief they talk about. They talk about there's 5 stages of grief. And I think I went straight into denial. I didn't even acknowledge the fact that she was gone. I had her and she was somewhere. She just wasn't with me. And so I was in denial. And then I went through denial for a long time. And then I was numb. And then I was angry. And then I was depressed. And then I finally come to a place of acceptance. But with losing my parent, it was a little bit different because I'm strictly just numb. I don't know what to think. But because of the process I went through with my child, it kind of prepped me for the next level of grief that I was about to experience. So it's been something. Hey, Daddy. So it's been a journey. It's a long and hard journey. But like I said, I'm not going to be the only one up here talking. Nobody has answered my question yet. For those who are up here, what is grief to you? What is grief? How do you define grief? And if so, if you've gone through it, what I'm saying, how did you go through it? What happened? How did you deal with it? Anything you want to say on this?
On grief?
Yeah, I mean, because I feel like I'm rambling right now.
No, grief. Wow, grief is grief is well, hold on. Before I said, Deidre said.
Well, no, Trivia said first.
Trivia said, I know all about grief too well. I've shared this with you before, Sherrie. I agree with you. It's a long and difficult process. Deidre said, my grandmother raised me when she passed away. I never dealt with it. I convinced myself that she was away somewhere I just couldn't call and see her until 6 years later when it hit me like a ton of bricks.
Right.
Let me see. Like a ton. Like a ton. David said, can you tell me how? David said, can you tell me how to get out of the angry stage? And Lita said, a warm, wet blanket can't
get off your face.
Yeah.
You can't get off your face. You can't get off your face.
Dave.
He lost his child.
Yeah, so as I haven't had experience, and it'll come one day about losing a parent. But as far as losing a child, I know with me, as far as the anger, because I shared this before. I was so angry, and this is a no in the church. But
hold on, let me say this before you get started. Let me say this. Just a disclaimer to everybody out there: we are not professionals. We do not know. We cannot give you a formula on how to go through grief, because the thing about grief is an individual process. Everybody goes through grief differently. We can give you our advice of how we went through, but because of everybody's personality, character, standards, morals, values, things that they've been raised with are different. Everybody handles it differently. So I just want to say that before he gets started. I'm totally sorry.
Well, let me read Michael's. Michael said, I'm still grieving after 8 years of losing my dad, and it is very. And it's like every major event that happens. I want my dad there, and he's not there in the flesh to share it with me. So it's hard. Grief is a process of dealing. Grief is a process of dealing with the void. Trivia said to share. I lost both of my parents 4 months apart. I too went through those stages of grief and was in denial for a very long time. And was angry as well. Mm-hmm. So, Dave, as far as me, David, as far as me, how I felt. So my thing was, at first I took we found out that, Lila was gone and she wasn't coming back. So I went through this spiritual thing where every day I went down for the 3 days, I went down to the chapel and I prayed. And, I was like, God, well, cool. Look, Lazarus was dead and Jesus took his time going there and took him 4 days. I said on the fourth day, Jesus finally got there and he raised Lazarus up. And God, God, if you did that for Lazarus, then you can do that for us. And each day I went back and on that third day, nothing happened. So, yeah, I got real angry. And, they tell you in the church that you can't get angry with God and all of this wonderful stuff that sounds good if you ain't been through it yourself. And so, I got real angry. I was so angry, and this is the major no in church, and I've shared this with Sherrie. Mm-hmm. I got so angry that I was happy if I had a died and went to hell. That's how angry it was. And in the church, that's a no because, as Christians, we're supposed to live our whole life, to have eternal life, and go see Jesus and to spend, that great happiness in heaven. But at that point in time, I was so angry that if I had went to hell, I would have been glad to be on the front line burning because I didn't care. That's how angry I was. I was so angry. I didn't want to pray. I didn't want to hear Jesus. I didn't want to hear the name Jesus. I didn't want to hear the name God. I didn't want to hear nobody try to encourage me spiritually. I didn't want nobody to tell me, oh, the Lord's going to wipe away your tears. Oh, he's going to come. I didn't want to hear none of that crap because at the point in time, it was crap. Right. Because nothing mattered to me at that point in time but the fact that my daughter was not there.
Right.
So I didn't want to hear no encouragement. If you couldn't bring my daughter back, don't say nothing to me. Don't say nothing. Just only thing, your presence was good, but don't try to encourage me because you didn't know what I was going through. So I don't want to hear what you got to say. That's where I was. And I don't like to share this, but it's just the truth. Man, when grief hits you, you don't know what you're going to do. You don't know how you're going to react. Yeah. It was to the point where I was one of those people who I always said, you know what? I don't see how folks can go through the process. I don't see how folks can think about, committing suicide. I don't see how they can do all that. They just crazy. They just weak. Well, that sounded great until I was the one in those shoes. And at that point in time, because I was hurting so bad and because I was so angry, and yeah, I wasn't in my right mind. Yeah, because TJ loves life. TJ loves life. TJ loves the good about life. He loves the bad about life. TJ realizes, how many lives can be damaged, how many people could be hurt by the loss of his death. But at that point in time, none of that crap mattered to me. All I wanted at that point in time was a quick way out. That's all I wanted was a quick way out. So I do understand how a person could want to commit suicide, how they could want to end everything, because at that point in time, you're hurting so bad, and nothing, nobody, no situation trumps the pain and the hurt that you feel at that moment.
Right.
It is the pain that you feel is so astronomical that it is greater and larger than everything else. So a Jesus, a God, at that point in time, you don't even think they can take that pain away. So at that point in time, and I'm being serious, at that point in time, he don't even matter to you because that's how angry you are. That's reality speaking. That ain't no shama mama, no Bible, no I've been praying, I've been worshiping. None of that stuff matters at that point in time when you are hurt and angry like that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. When TJ was angry, he dealt with his immediately. See, and that's why I say everybody's grief process is totally different, because when TJ had to deal with the loss of his daughter, he dealt with it immediately. He hit it head on. Whereas for me, it took me months. And then I got angry with God. And so your question, David, is, how do I deal with the angry? I'm having anger. The thing is confronting it. If I acknowledging the fact that, this is where I'm at. It's like literally giving your life back to Christ all over again. You're literally confessing to him, this is where I'm at. I was questioning God. I was questioning his existence. I was questioning everything about him. I didn't want to go to church. I didn't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to hear anything. I didn't want to go. When I finally started feeling these feelings, because see, I was numb for a long time. I wasn't feeling anything. Everything just came in. It was like a blur. And so, you know what I'm saying? So when I start really feeling these emotions, you tend to get real angry and you want to blame somebody. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You want to blame somebody. You want to point the finger and you want to take it out on them. And that's what me and TJ was saying earlier. Who is us to take it out on God? Who is us to blame God for this? Like, why would you do that? Who are you to do that? And then we look like, who are you talking to? You're talking to God. But it's like you have to get that out of your system. You have to confess it. You have to express it. You have to release it the best way you know how. Not on others. Because a lot of times when we're going through and we get angry like that, we tend to take it out on others. Mm-hmm. Because what we learned in our process of grief is that a lot of marriages were destroyed from having stillbirths or losing a child. A lot of marriage, because you're so angry about the situation that you really don't have nobody to really point the finger at, because you know who God is, but at the same time you want to point the finger at God, but you can't point the finger at God. So you point the finger at the closest person to you.
Well, you can point the finger at God. Matter of fact, you can point the finger at anybody.
But that's because he's not physically there. That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying
you can point the finger at anybody, but pointing the finger at God, it still don't change the fact that at the end of the day, you have lost a loved one.
Yeah.
Because nothing matters at that point in time because that loved one is not there. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter whether the child has been here for 30 years or the child has been here for a year. At the end of the day, that pain is real.
It's very
because
real.
You have lost. No parent. To me, a parent's worst nightmare is, and there's plenty of things that can happen. But to me, a parent's worst nightmare is having to bury a child.
Right.
Like that's not how it's supposed to go. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to go the other way around.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it is. Come on, man. You wait for, what is it? 8 months, 9 months, 10 months or whatever to see
40 weeks.
40 weeks. I don't know all them digits, but you wait all that long time to see somebody, and you never get the opportunity. So mine is different because I'm the type of person where, like she said, when stuff like that happens, I gotta hit it dead on, because if I don't hit it head on, it'll start to fester. And once that thing starts to fester, it'll start branching off into other areas.
Yeah.
So I like to just go ahead. Look, it hurts, doggone, and it's gonna hurt for a while. It still hurts now, and it's been what, five years?
Been 5 years.
5 years.
It's been 5 years.
Because she was, matter of fact, this year she was supposed to start kindergarten.
Yeah.
All right. So, and it still hurts, but I had to face it head on because, like I said, I knew for me, as Sherrie said, grief for people, each person is going to be different. I knew for me that if I waited, it was going to destroy me, basically, because I know me. And so I said, I got to get it. I got to go ahead and hit it. And I also knew on the flip side, it said that when we lost Lila or whatever, I didn't have a whole lot of male support. You know what I'm saying? I had the basic stuff, which was like my father, my brother, my pastor, of course. And I had three more other guys who actually checked up on me to see if I was okay. That was it. So I had to, once those left, I had to deal with that jump by myself. And I said, and see, Sherrie, at that point in time, she was at the hospital. She had a slew of women coming in and out of the hospital. So she had so many people coming in there. She really didn't even have time to even, she was talking about being numb. She didn't even have a chance to process that stuff because they was coming in and out. So I was like, you know what? Here's the deal. This junk hurts like Hades. And I can't say the cuss word on here, but hey, this thing hurts like all get out. But I got to go ahead and deal with this thing because I know once all these, what they say, after the dust has settled and what's the song? After the dust settled in the road. I don't know the song.
I don't know that.
Anyway, I was like, after all these people leave and the hoopla goes away, that junk gonna slap her in the face. And I got to try to be there to try to hold her up. So just like I said, our daughter stayed there to the hospital for 3 days. 3 or 4 days. So the third day was when, we had to make a decision what we were going to do. So our first funeral, our first, what you want to call it, officiating the funeral was of our daughter because they brought her up that third day, you know what I'm saying, in the little casket. And like they say, the worst part of a person dying is closing up that casket because, once you close that casket up, you're never going to see them again. And that's like another pain on top of the pain you already feel. Yeah. And so when Lila first came out, I held her. So I said, I got to start the process. So I held her. I watched her body go from being warm to no life at all to being cold. I watched her body change from the human warm form to the rigor mortis setting in. So I saw the whole life change of her. I just said, I got to go ahead and get it in. After they wrapped her up, I held her again for like another 45 minutes. So I was processing it. You know what I'm saying? And then not only that, but I heard her speak in my ear, my name. I told Sherrie the whole time she was pregnant, I said, you know what? All I want to see the entire time, the only thing I wanted to see the entire time was to hear her say my name. That's all I wanted to hear. So while I'm holding her in the operating room, I hear somebody bend down and whisper my name. When they bent down and they whispered, they said, Daddy. That hit me. So I went through the whole process. So we got into the room. I held her. Watched the body continue to change. So I had an opportunity to hold her, to feel her body, all of that. Sherrie hadn't had that yet. So on the third day, I told her, I said, look, here's the deal. If you don't hold this girl, you're never going to forgive yourself. You're never going to forgive yourself, period. You're going to hold yourself hostage to it. And I was like, I need the process for her because I had already started it. I needed the process for her to begin because I knew that if the process did not begin, which I never told her this, I knew if the process did not begin, I was going to lose my wife and it was going to destroy her. I knew that. And I'm like, look, I just lost my child. I ain't trying to lose my wife because I still got kids that need to be raised and I still need my wife healthy. And so I took her, when they brought her up there, I took her out of the casket they had her in, and I held her, but I gave her over to Sherrie. And like she said, she had been in denial this entire time. But once she held our daughter, that's when reality hit. That's when she broke. And that's when the process started. Yeah. And everybody.
It was a confrontation.
Yeah, it was a confrontation.
You have to confront. I think that's the thing a lot of people don't want to do because nobody likes anything that's sad, anything that causes you to be depressed, anything that causes a negative emotion. Nobody wants to deal with it. People shut down when they get hurt. Like a betrayal. will shut you down. Somebody did you wrong, it will shut you down. Like, nobody likes confrontation. Everybody thinks conflict or confrontation is all bad. But some confrontation and some conflict is good. There is a such thing as a good conflict or a good confrontation. And the thing is, a lot of us do not want to face grief. Death is inevitable. It is just inevitable. We think, and the thing is, we hype up in our own imagination that ain't nobody going nowhere. Because I can be honest, I love my mama, and I'm sitting here like, she ain't going nowhere no time soon. That's we tend to think that, our own imagination, our little finite mind tends to bring it up. They ain't going nowhere no time soon. You really think ain't nobody going nowhere no time soon? But you tend to lose kids at 7 and 9 to gun violence, or you lose babies and young kids to cancer and tumors. You know what I'm saying? Or you lose loved ones, at an early age in their 20s. Drug drivers killing people. Like, death is literally all around us. People getting kidnapped at all ages, and it's like, we don't think that negative is going to happen because we're so busy living our lives. But the part of our life that we tend to forget, that death is involved in that, because all of us have to go at some time. The thing is, can you really prepare for death? No. I asked someone that one time, can you prepare for death? And
spiritually, yeah. I mean, we know the spiritual thing. But naturally,
I don't care how old you are and
or even if
where you at, and if you have a real relationship with God, it's nothing you can really do to prepare for death. But when it hits your door, you know what I'm saying? How do I go through this process? And the thing is, you have to go through. Got to go through this process, and that means through it. You cannot get in a stage and get stuck there. Because honestly, I was stuck. I was numb for almost a year. And I think Mike said it was 8 years for him. I know Demi, I talked to Demi, it was 3-4 years for her. I think Deidre said a few years for her.
6 years.
6 years. You know what I'm saying? Some of us, we lose a loved one and we get stuck right there at death. And instead of us processing the emotions that we're feeling, we're feeling lost. We feeling like this is not real. It's surreal. Some of us say it's a dream. It can't be real. We go through all these emotions. If you go through these emotions, type them up, because I can't think of everything. But what emotions did you go through when the grief hit your door? What emotions, the anger, the disappointment, what I could have done different, the woulda, coulda, shouldas, they start hitting in. Because especially with my mom, I was like, if I had just did this different, if I had just spoke up a little sooner, if I had just made sure she had got this done, if I had told her about this, I had so many woulda, coulda, shouldas. It's ridiculous. Like, it would have played out differently. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm thinking in my head, she did not have a life-threatening situation. But at the same time, it was preventable to a certain degree. But at the same time, she was in a lot of pain every single day. And I don't know what the person in pain is going through. Right. Because a lot of times, some people who are sick and they're in pain every day, people who have cancer or HIV, AIDS, they're in pain every day. We're believing God for their healing, but we don't realize what they're going through, what they're feeling. You know what I'm saying? My mom was in pain every day. I can't imagine being in pain every day. My dad is still alive. He has rheumatoid arthritis. And he tells me, well, baby, you just don't understand. There's a lot of days I'm in pain. I have no clue of what he goes through. And honestly, if you looked at the man, you would never think he had a day of pain. You would never think he had a day of pain.
You don't carry it.
And I know a lot of y'all are talking and making comments, but we are going to read and we're going to talk about this, because grief is real. Grief is something that should be discussed. Grief is something that needs to be expressed, whether it's to a friend, whether it's to a loved one, whether it's to a counselor, where is it to a pastor. It needs to be expressed. It shouldn't be something that you hold in, because grief is like depression or stress. It will literally eat you alive and destroy you. Yeah. Because
it will, because with grief, you was talking about the feeling. Mm-hmm. So with Leela, do you mind? So with Leela, Sherrie dreamed the process of losing her, which means the way her body reacted to losing. She dreamed the whole thing. She dreamed that the story you dreamed. that she dreamed. I think that water came out of her. That's what she dreamed. She dreamed that water came out. That water came out of her.
Amen.
So the thing about that is like seeing my wife. I'm telling you, man, seeing my wife on the floor as a husband, not being able to do anything. Seeing the head of my child not being able to do anything. To the point where, like I said, I'm the type of person when tragic happens, I don't think, I move. And I'm doing the right things, but I'm moving. On that particular morning, like I told the story before, that particular morning, every single thing was in slow motion. Right. I mean, everything was in slow motion, from the way I was moving, to the way Sherrie was moving, from the way the kids was moving. Yeah. And to make matters worse, we stayed, literally, we stayed not even 10 minutes from the EMS. Yeah. Not even 10 minutes from the EMS. Now, mind you, I could have got on the road and sped and all that crap and could have had an accident. We all could have been dead. Not even thinking about it. But we only stayed 10 minutes from the EMS. And the way her body was, I couldn't have took her like that because she probably would have bled out. So we needed the EMS. They were 10 minutes down the street. At the same time where all of this stuff occurred, it was an accident on 40, which means
at 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Right, which means all of the EMS and the rescue squad, all the stuff that we needed was right there at the accident. Yeah. So talk about helpless, literally. Yeah. That's another thing about death. You can't do anything about it.
You have no control.
You have no control over that thing.
And that's the thing is people, we want to control everything. And grief is one thing you cannot control. And death is something and you know. But you can at least eventually get a handle on it.
You can get a handle on it.
But grief comes in waves, though. Yeah. For some people who don't understand it, grief comes in waves. Because, like a couple of years later, I thought I was doing better. I hadn't gone through the emotions. I was angry with God. I repented. I repented and asked God to forgive me for everything I said negative against him. I asked the Lord to forgive me so bad that we were watching a movie. We were watching a movie one night. A Wrinkle in Time. I told my brother-in-law about this. A Wrinkle in Time. We were watching that movie, boy. You talk about somebody, you would have thought my baby had died all over again right in front of my hands.
I thought she was crazy.
I lost it. Lost it.
We just had a great time.
This is 2-3 years later. I lost it. I cried. I repented to God.
Her body was shaking.
I was shaking so bad. I was screaming. I was losing it. But that's what I'm saying. Grief has a way of coming out. Oh, yes. Grief has a way of coming out of you. That thing is birthed in you when you lose someone that you love, but it has a way of coming out. It has to come out. It has to come out. Because if it doesn't come out of you, oh my God, it will literally kill you. And that's the thing. So wherever you are at in your grief process, whether it be denial, guilt, shame, blame yourself. I saw Jesus says, I blame myself. Oh my God, the blame game is real. I blame myself. But we did it. I think I still blame myself sometimes.
We sat down and tried to think of stuff.
Yeah, it was our fault.
We tried to create stuff.
God even sent a prophet that said it was my doing. It didn't matter what God said. I still blame myself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We blame ourselves for something that we have no control over. Once again, we trying to control everything. And we blame ourselves. That's what I said, the woulda, coulda, shouldas. If I had just done this differently, and we put that guilt on us, we put all this negative weight and burden and pressure on ourselves. And we're literally suffocating ourselves. We're literally killing ourselves. Yeah. And the thing is, grief is a wave of emotions. You literally can be fine, and then all of a sudden you're crying. You literally can be fine, and then all of a sudden you take it out on someone.
You could be driving down the highway. You could be laughing.
Yes.
You could be laughing. Yes. And all of a sudden you just like, what's wrong with you? It comes. Grief never and the thing is, when grief comes, it don't let you know when it's coming.
It don't let you know it's coming. It's just gonna hit you. And from the back of your head, it's just gonna hit you.
And when it hits you, you can't do nothing.
You can't.
You have to acknowledge when it's there.
You have to acknowledge, and you need to. It's necessary that you acknowledge it. You do not deny it. You do not suck it up. You don't hide it. You process it. You let it flow through you. So if you angry, you deal with it. Have your moment and then move on. If you're upset, have your moment, deal with it, move on. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is, the negative repercussions from not dealing with it, which some people go through, is insomnia, anxiety, loss of appetite, loss of pleasures, whether it be sexual pleasures, pleasures of this world, pleasures of anything. You know what I'm saying? Loss of taking care of yourself. You don't do your hair no more. You don't put no makeup on. You don't dress right no more. Like, you literally, it starts affecting every area of your life.
On the spirit of
you take this. You literally
look
take
just
on.
How they say it.
Yeah.
You look just. You begin to look like grief.
Yes, you begin to
like
look like
you can
grief.
look like death. You begin to look like grief because it has consumed who you are.
It has consumed who you are, and that is not who God has called you to be. And see, the thing is, there's no time limit on grief.
No time limit.
When someone said there's no expiration date on grief, because grief can come at all times, because it's your process, it's your walk, it's your journey. It's how you deal with it, because the more you confront it, the more you walk through the process, the better it gets, the easier it is to deal with the pain and the hurt. It doesn't necessarily goes away, because you're always going to be grieving something that you lost. It just depends on how you grieve it, to the level of how you grieve it.
Does it get better?
It can.
It can. And it will help you through the next process. Yeah. But it's still there.
Yeah, it's still there. It's still there. So many people have commented. I'm trying to read through.
I want to go through what Thurman said. Thurman said that he said sometimes you have to be strong in the open to protect the ones you love. I completely agree, because when we lost Leela, I had to be strong in front of the girls because, hey, I had never experienced that before. Now, when I got by myself, that was another story.
And that's it right there.
Yeah.
That's it right there. We feel like we have to be strong for others. You know, we got to put on that persona, like, let me hold my other kids up, or let me hold my family up, or whatever. And then we don't put that guard down. You have to eventually put that guard down, because you have to learn how to let it go. Because my daughter said something to me at my mom's funeral. She's like, I'm just trying to be strong for everybody. I'm just trying to be strong for my sisters. And I said, and she's like, if I cry, that means I'm being weak. Baby, I said, no, baby, you that is not being weak. Crying is just another form of strength. Crying means I can honestly let this go. I can freely release myself of this pain and this hurt, release the pressure, and then I can build myself back up again. I had to tell my 9-year-old daughter that, because my 9-year-old daughter thinking that she has to be strong for other people or her sisters or whatever during the loss of her grandmother. And that baffles me, because you're 9 years old. Why are you thinking like that? But that's what we do. We feel like we have to be strong for everybody else, and we don't know how to have a moment for ourselves. It's okay to have a moment for ourselves. You have
moments for yourself.
Moments. You have to learn how to balance that. You have to find that space for that and walk through it. Walk through it. I have to keep saying that. You have to walk through
process.
You have to give yourself time. Another thing is, give yourself time. Grief is not a rushing process. And and like I said, there's no expiration date. Give yourself time to go through this. And know what? Not only that, tell yourself that it's okay to grieve. Yes. Give yourself permission to grieve. Give yourself permission to grieve. That's where it begins. Yeah. So DJ said, it's a lot of them. DJ said, we're gonna go through these. DJ said, I was newly saved when my mom left me. I constantly stayed in church for everything, because otherwise I would have lost my mind. Kristen said, anger. The feeling she felt was anger from mismanaged time and not repairing the relationship I had with that person. Yeah. Savage said, Death, man. He said, Death has a warrant for everybody. Yes, Death. That's a lot of them, baby. I'm not going to read them. I'm just reading a couple of them. So Charlene said she felt guilt, shocked, wondering if I didn't do enough, why didn't I insist she come to me sooner? Clarice said she felt guilt of the loss of her grandfather. Yeah. Deidre said, I blame myself, because normally every morning, I would call for heading to work. Before heading to work that morning, I didn't call her, and she had a heart attack around the same time I normally call her. Let's go to this one. Boo said he had a friend who committed suicide in 2014. I felt so guilty because I was one of the ones he called to talk to before he died. I didn't answer because I was ministering at church. To this day, I still struggle because this could have been different, and I could have answered that phone. I'm a lot better now, but it is a struggle. Yeah, it plays on your mind.
It does.
Situations like that play on your mind. Like, why didn't I pick up the phone? The same thing with my mom. My mom called me, and then I was like, okay, I picked up the phone that day, but then I was like, I kept saying, I need to call mommy, and I didn't. And I was like, I should have called. So that's gonna play in my head. You know, things like that tend to replay in your head. And not saying, as being human, that's gonna happen. You know, the woulda, coulda, shouldas. You know, I should have picked up the phone. I could have called. I could have done that. You know what I'm saying? You know, the thing is, you have to get to a point. You have to stop tormenting yourself. You know what I'm saying? It will always be there, but when it happens, you got to stop it in its tracks and then move on with your life. You can't allow it to torment yourself. So Charlene says, I felt like I didn't have time to grieve. I had used up all my leave. I had to finish my degree and pay the agency back. Now, that is true. For some people, they didn't have time to grieve. I know we had a friend. She had to go right back to work. I think I only had 3 days. And then I had to go right back to work. You know, some people don't have time because, you know, they may live on their own. They may be single or whatever. And that is a hard thing.
So as far as time to grieve, because we're in this world, we got to work.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always time to grieve. You have to make time to grieve. You have to, I said again, you have to make time to grieve, because if you don't grieve, it is going to take you out.
Yeah, but I get what she's saying with, it feels like, she said, I felt like I didn't have time to grieve, because as soon as the bad moment happened, you had to go back into life, like life as usual. You had to go back into that. But, and that's the hard part.
There are some people who feel like they don't have time to grieve.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm saying,
is yours messing up?
No, mine's good.
Okay.
I'm saying, but you have to take time. You have to take time. It is important. Grieving will save your life.
Yeah.
Literally, it will save your life.
Yeah. So, you know, we think I don't know, it could be mine. Is it yours? Yours is still going? Because we losing people.
I'm moving. It's fine. We still rolling.
No, I just thought because maybe it's me.
Come out and go back.
So yeah, it's the thing. The thing about, you know, like I said, grieving is different for everybody. It's everybody's own individual process. It's hard to control, and you know, there's no expiration. There's no type of formula on how to do it. Even though psychologists and them say there's 5 stages to grieving, but nobody can really pinpoint the complex way of grieving. But I will say this, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times we don't want to spiritualize anything. You know, the funny thing is we want to serve God, but we want to serve God with our own limits and standards and sets and rules and regulations. And the most important time to have him in our lives is the time that we want to say, I don't want to hear him. And that's just being human. That's just being real. That's just being honest. When we go through something very traumatic, we don't want to hear no scriptures. We don't want to hear no encouragement. But the thing is, at the end of the day, for my testimony, I don't know about anybody else's testimony, but for my testimony, I can't even say for him. My testimony is that when I made a decision to repent and give my life back to Christ after saying so much negative stuff about him,
happened with me.
You know what I'm saying? That I started worshiping, because I couldn't form any words to pray. And I'm an intercessor. God has gifted me to be an intercessor, but I couldn't form words to pray or say. So I would just worship. I put on some worship music and I would just cry, and I would just cry. And I was like, you know, Fred Hammond has some words in his song. He says, God exchanged my weaknesses for your strength. And I've literally prayed that for a long time, because right now I'm in a weak moment. Here I am, naked and not ashamed. And
right, naked and not ashamed.
And you know, and I need you to do this. And because of what I went through with my daughter, it prepared me for my mom. Now, a lot of people say you can't be prepared for death. No, maybe not. I can't speak for you. But the reason why I say it prepared me for my mom's death, because in the past 5 years, God has been grooming me. He has been strengthening me. He has made me go through situations where I had to stand on my own 2 feet by myself. And he said, I need you to learn how to respond, not react, but respond to this situation in the way I've called you to respond. I need you to be very mature. And I need you to have a mature mind. I need you to have wisdom. So that come from spending time with him. So I had to spend more time with God. And that's how I prepared for my mom, because I can honestly say, and I'm going to say this openly because only my family, only my husband knows, God was showing me signs of my mom, that this was going to happen to my mom sooner than I thought. But the human side of me was like, no, she ain't going nowhere. She got another 20 years. She'll be good. But the spiritual side was giving me glimpses of what was about to happen. I could literally see it. Yeah. And he was telling me to get myself ready. But I didn't want to hear it. That's where that denial comes again. I didn't want to hear it. And the thing is, if you position yourself, if you humble yourself long enough, and if because we don't want to go through the hard things. We don't. I don't want to go through the hard things. But the thing is, if you humble yourself and submit yourself and yield yourself long enough to God, he will give you what you need, that supernatural strength that you need, that supernatural maturity, that supernatural wisdom, how to literally hold yourself, have a fortitude to not break when you're going through literally the hardest moments of your life. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, this was hard. Because not just because my mom had lost, but then my sister had to go to the hospital. Like, it was combative. It was back to back. And then I had some other issues going on. So it was very hard for me. But I was shocked to see myself go through it. And I'm still going through it. But I am shocked to see how I am responding to things that I will literally flip out on. It's amazing. I know it's amazing to see that. So when you allow yourself to go through the grieving process and you allow God to come in your life, come in that broken place and let him heal it, let him mold it, let him do the reconstruction on it. Believe me, you will be surprised that when you hit the next grieving period, how you're able to stand a little taller and stand a little stronger and be able to get through it. But the thing is, you gotta want to go through this. You gotta be willing to go through this. Because if you're not willing to go through this, when the next hard hit hits, you're not gonna be ready for it. You're not gonna be prepared for it. You're gonna crumble, and it's gonna be even harder to bounce back from. And that's the thing. Like I said, a lot of people don't want to talk about the spiritual stuff in this situation, but you cannot deny God in this, because God is God. He is who he is. He is the one who allowed this situation to happen. He is the one who has allowed our daughter to be gone. He's allowed our mom to be gone. He has allowed for your loved one to be gone. We don't know the reason why. We would never know the reason why. We would never understand it unless he literally spoke it to you. You know what I'm saying? You would never fully understand his infinite mind. But the thing is, we serve an awesome God, omnipotent God, omniscient God. We serve this God that can do anything. And the thing is, even in death, we have to put our trust in him. Even in death, we have to say, okay, God, this hurts, but I still trust you. Even in death, we have to say, even in this scary moment, this angry moment, you know what I'm saying? This schizophrenic moment, I'm blaming myself, this guilty moment. God, I trust you. My faith is in you, and you gonna see me through this one. You know what I'm saying? Because when I lost Leela, after a couple of years, and I repented and I did this, God said to me, how long shall you mourn the dead? Like I said, nobody can tell you how long you can grieve, but God can. Yeah. And God told me that. God said, how long shall you mourn the dead? And I had to pick myself up, because I have gotten myself placed into a mourning that I was about to not be able to come out of. Because God said, I have called you to live life more abundantly. There's so much life out here. So yes, we have death that has come, and it allows us to pause and stop in our tracks. But we have to get back up and keep living the life that God has called us to live. So we thank everybody who has joined us on tonight. This has been a great discussion. I hope something we have said. Also. Yeah, it's a healing process. It's literally a healing process.
No, but the more you honestly, I don't know people don't know you're good.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I know people don't like to talk about it, but the more you talk about it and get it out in the air, honestly, the more you can get over it.
Yeah.
So you have to talk about it. You can't keep this stuff inside.
That's right.
You got to continue to talk about it. See, Sherry's works away. Mine, since I'm a musician, God spoke to me. Well,
through music.
Yeah, one Sunday, I told God, after I got over myself, I told God, I was like, okay, I'm ready to hear you. What do you want me to do? And he immediately spoke to me. He told me, he said, I need you to go back to what you used to do. And I'm like, what in the world is that? When I was younger, whenever I was angry or hurt or whatever the case is, I would go and sit to the keyboard and I would play. And every feeling, every emotion that I had, or if there was something that was, off, when I finished playing, the feeling was gone. I played it away. And so God spoke. He said, I need you to go back to what you used to do. And that was back to the place where that was my place of worship. Yeah. And at that point in time, it was on the keyboard. And for those who don't know, I have a CD that I wrote called A Time to Worship.
Yes, he did.
And those who don't know, that CD that you hear are my emotions. Yes. That's what I felt when that was my healing process through my grieving. Yes. I'm still grieving, but that took away the bulk of the grieving that I had, the pain that I had. That's that CD, A Time to Worship. And I have had testimonies of plenty of people who have, who some people have been healed. Some people have experienced God like they never known before. Yeah. Some people use it during their prayer time. Some people use it in their meditation time. We still have it. But that was my process. That was only when I opened myself up and told God that I was ready to heal. Yes. So since I was ready to heal, he said, here's the process to your healing. Yes. Mine was music. Hers was
worship.
Hers is worship. Yours may be something different. But to everybody, God has a process of your healing. Yes. We don't know what it is. You got to seek him to find what your personal process is. But God has a process that is tailor-made to each person who is going through the process of grief. Yeah. But you have to open yourself up and be willing to get past yourself. Does it hurt? It does. Yes. You cannot deny that. Yes. But you have to open yourself up and get past yourself in order to move past the pain to get to the process of your healing. Yes, yes, yes. So with that being said, thank you guys. Please. We do.
Once again, thank you to everybody. I'm about to cry. It has been hard. It is still hard. I miss my mom. I miss my daughter. You know what I'm saying? And I'm praying for my sister's healing. And so, and for those who are out there and you have lost, our prayers are with you, but continue to heal, as my husband said. Continue to seek God in this process. Continue to not only to seek healing for you, but seek healing for someone else. Yeah. God has placed you on this to help somebody else. George, you said, your friend lost to suicide. Our nephew, same story. He had a best friend, just committed suicide a couple of months ago, and they were best friends. And he was like, if I had just talked to him. And that's the thing. You never know what your testimony can do to help somebody else or encourage somebody else. Share that with somebody. Get into a support group. Yeah. Go see a counselor. Talk to your friends. Talk to your family members. Whatever you have to do. Healing is there, and God wants to be there to help you heal.
Take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself so you can help someone else. Thank you again to everybody who did show love and help me through the process of losing my mom. We still walking. And so for those that are out there, continue to pray for those who have lost children, who has lost their sons, their daughters, who have lost nieces and nephews, cousins, aunts and uncles, parents. You know what I'm saying? It is real. It hurts to lose a loved one. Yeah. But at the same time, depending on how they were gone, because, you have to forgive. I know everybody's dealing with that court case. Learn how to have forgiveness in your heart. Forgive yourself. For those who have blamed yourself for the deaths, forgive yourself. It was not your doing.
It's not your doing. And not only that,
it was not your doing.
You have to understand something. All the stuff that happens, it's God's will. So if you couldn't be there at that last couple of seconds, it was God's will. Yeah. For Leela, you know what I'm saying? We felt like we should have already been to the hospital. God's will. People was slow in their response. God's will. It took us forever to get to the hospital. God's will. At the end of the day, no matter who you lose, how they go, at the end of the day, it is God's will. Whether we're in pain or not, it is God's will. And we have to be willing, which is hard. It's a hard thing to do, man. But we have to be willing and humble and submissive enough to accept the will of God. That is the hardest thing to do, accept the will of God, especially when it's not in what you think is your favor. Yeah. We have to be able to accept the perfect will of God.
Yeah. And it's not an easy thing to do. It's a hard thing to do, but we all can do it.
Yeah. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Yeah.
God has given us the strength. God has given us the strength and the power to overcome anything. Jesus Christ died on that cross for all of us. He could have came off that cross and destroyed all them folks. But he thought that our lives, the pain, he knew we were going to feel the pain we're feeling. He knew we were going to go through this grief. He knew all of this stuff. So he died for all that. So he has all the power. We just got to turn to him in order to be able to get through it. Yeah.
So we love you guys. We love you guys. We'll pray for each other's strength. I pray for you. Y'all pray for us. We'll pray for you. Y'all have a great weekend. And we will see y'all next Thursday with another great topics. We love you guys. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Yeah.